Imagine falling deeply in love with someone. You trust them. You dream with them. You believe nothing could ever come between you. And then one day, money enters the relationship. Suddenly, small things start changing. Conversations feel different. Decisions feel heavier. And love begins to feel complicated. Today, I want to tell you a story, not about many people, just two, Emma and Daniel. Their story might seem simple, but hidden inside it is a powerful psychological truth about money and relationships that most people never notice. Emma met Daniel in a small bookstore. Daniel was standing in the psychology section. Emma was looking for a novel. They both reached for the same book. They laughed. It was awkward, but something about that moment felt natural. Daniel liked Emma because she was calm and thoughtful. Emma liked Daniel because he listened carefully when people spoke. Their early relationship was simple. Cheap coffee, late night conversations, walking through the city for hours. Neither of them had much money. But strangely, that never mattered. Because when people are starting a relationship, the brain releases dopamine and oxytocin. Those chemicals make emotional connection feel more important than anything else. Money doesn't feel relevant yet. Love feels bigger than everything. And for Emma and Daniel, it truly did. 2 years later, something changed. Daniel got a new job, a very good job. The kind of job that suddenly changes someone's lifestyle. New apartment, better restaurants, travel plans. Emma was proud of him. She truly was. But something inside her started feeling strange. Daniel began paying for everything. Dinner, trips, shopping. At first, Emma appreciated it, but slowly she started feeling uncomfortable. Not because Daniel expected anything in return, but because psychologically, money often shifts the balance in relationships. The person who earns more may unintentionally gain influence, and the other person can start feeling less independent. One evening, Emma said something quietly. Daniel, maybe we should split things sometimes. Daniel looked confused. Why? I can afford it. He meant it kindly. But that sentence carried a message Daniel didn't realize. I can afford it. Which also meant, you can't. Emma smiled and said nothing. But inside, something small had started to change. As time passed, Daniel's career kept growing. More success, more money, more responsibility. Meanwhile, Emma's career moved slower. She worked hard, but her salary stayed modest. Neither of them talked about it, but humans naturally compare themselves, even inside relationships. Emma sometimes wondered if Daniel saw her differently now. Daniel sometimes wondered if Emma secretly resented him, but neither of them said anything. Because money is one of the most emotionally sensitive topics in psychology. People avoid it. They hide their insecurities. They protect their pride. And silence slowly builds distance. One night, Emma declined a weekend trip Daniel planned. He noticed. You don't seem excited anymore. Emma hesitated. Then she said something honest. Sometimes I feel like I'm living in your life, not ours. Daniel didn't know how to respond, because for the first time, he realized money had quietly entered their relationship. The real conflict between Emma and Daniel wasn't money. It was meaning. Psychologically, people attach emotional meanings to money based on their life experiences. For Daniel, money meant freedom. He grew up watching his parents struggle financially, so success felt like safety. But for Emma, money meant independence. She valued equality, the ability to stand on her own. Without realizing it, both of them were protecting different emotional needs. Daniel was trying to provide, Emma was trying to stay equal. Neither of them was wrong, but they were misunderstanding each other. This is where many relationships fail, not because of money, but because couples never talk about what money represents emotionally. One quiet evening, Daniel finally asked Emma something important. Can you tell me what money means to you? Emma thought for a moment. Then she answered honestly. It means I don't want to feel dependent on anyone. Even someone I love. Daniel nodded slowly. Then he said something surprising. For me, it means the opposite. Emma looked confused. Daniel continued. When I pay for things, I feel like EM protecting us. In that moment, something powerful happened. They understood each other. For the first time, money stopped being the problem and became a conversation. Emma and Daniel didn't magically solve everything that night, but they did something many couples never do. They talked openly about money. Not just numbers, but because money in relationships is rarely about the money itself. It's about what money symbolizes: security, power, freedom, independence. And when two people understand those meanings, money loses its power to divide them. Instead, it becomes something they manage together. Emma and Daniel had finally talked honestly about money, but that conversation raised a deeper question. Why does money affect relationships so strongly in the first place? Why do people feel insecurity, power, fear, or pride when money enters a relationship? The answer: instinto social. It's biological. Our brains react to money in ways that evolved thousands of years before modern relationships even existed. And when we understand this psychology, we can start fixing the problem. So let's go back to Emma and Daniel, but this time we'll look inside their minds. When Daniel received his first large paycheck, something happened in his brain. The reward system activated. The brain released dopamine, a chemical associated with pleasure and achievement. This is the same system activated by food, success, and even social approval. To Daniel's brain, money wasn't just paper or numbers. It was a signal of status and survival. Evolutionary psychology suggests that resources once determined whether someone could survive harsh environments: food, shelter, protection. In ancient times, individuals with more resources were more attractive partners. Not because of greed, but because resources meant safety. So when Daniel succeeded financially, his brain interpreted it as success in providing security. But Emma's brain reacted differently. Her brain focused less on reward and more on social balance. Humans evolved as cooperative creatures. Healthy relationships required fairness and equality within the group. Psychologists call this equity theory. When someone feels they contribute less than their partner, they may feel guilt or dependency. When they contribute more, they may feel resentment. Emma wasn't reacting to the money itself. She was reacting to a shift in perceived balance in the relationship. Another psychological factor appeared between Emma and Daniel: power. Research in psychology shows that financial resources often create decision-making power in relationships. This doesn't always happen intentionally, but the brain subconsciously connects resources with control. For example, studies show that people who feel financially powerful tend to speak more confidently, make more decisions, take leadership roles. Meanwhile, partners with fewer resources sometimes become quieter during decisions. Not because they are less capable, but because the brain interprets resource imbalance as a status difference. This is what Emma was feeling. She didn't want Daniel to control her life, but her brain was detecting an imbalance, and that created discomfort. Now let's look at another psychological layer. Identity. For Daniel, money represented achievement. He had worked extremely hard to reach his position. So when he paid for things, it felt natural. It felt like he was fulfilling a role. But identity is deeply connected to cultural expectations. Many societies teach men that they should be providers. Even if no one says it directly, the message appears everywhere. Movies, families, social expectations. When men earn more money, they often feel confident. When they earn less, they sometimes feel threatened. But identity expectations affect women too. Emma valued independence. She didn't want her life to feel financially controlled. Her brain associated independence with personal worth. So when Daniel paid for everything, her brain interpreted it as loss of autonomy. Again, neither person was wrong. Their brains were simply protecting their sense of identity. So couples avoid the conversation entirely, but avoidance creates a dangerous cycle. Silence leads to misunderstanding. Misunderstanding leads to emotional distance. And emotional distance slowly weakens the relationship. Let me ask you something. In relationships, do you think money creates problems, or does it simply reveal problems that were already there? Tell me your thoughts in the comments. And And if you enjoy deep psychology stories like this one, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Because the next story we're exploring is even more surprising. And once you understand it, you'll never look at relationships the same way again.